We have with us Sister Shireen, and thank you so much. And before I pass it on to you, give me one more moment to introduce you. You are not new for us here, but you have been with us. And Sister Shireen is always very humble. She sends only few lines. I have to read those few lines so that you know about her. She's engaged in the spiritual practice of BKs for almost 30 years now. And she's written that as 20,000 hours of meditation experience. She's an author of 4 unique books on meditation, and to name them, Soul Fitness, Oh My Goodness, True Hollywood Blockbuster, and Insperience the Divine. Rather than experience, it's experience. And she's also authored 3 popular meditation albums and a deck of spiritual power cards. And I still remember her show something, it was about um, preparing a lot of cuisines in the remembrance of God. I forget the show name of that show. You can tell us later that. And she has designed and facilitated meditation retreats and workshops to enable the souls to easily embrace the spiritual wisdom which she presents in her books. And she's also, yeah, that was the program, Release Your Wings. I should read it up fully. That was the program, Release Your Wings. It was the YouTube. I'm sure it is still there on YouTube. I would recommend you all to please visit it because she's created it and presented many different ways of how to cook food and different cuisines in the remembrance of divine. And as always, before I give it 1 more minute, it is about the poem which I do for all of the speakers. So today, Sister Shireen shall share her wisdom on being lawful and tell us how to strike this balance with being loveful, so that living life indeed becomes happy and joyful, with no feelings of remorse and being resentful. Her talks on spirituality indeed are so soulful, which decorate the soul and make it indeed so beautiful. Every experience in life then makes us feel blissful and reminds the soul of its original state, which is indeed peaceful. And finally, let's try to practice Raj Yoga and about the self be knowledgeful so that we could take decisions in life which are indeed powerful. So, with this, all yours. Over to you. Thank you.
Om Shanti, everyone. It was lovely. Thank you so much. That poem was very sweet, very sweet. I prefer Bridgmont by style. You should ask me questions and I'll answer, because this is a very difficult topic. And I like what Bridgmont Bai was saying, that strictness is not a virtue. It could be a virtue, but it's not a divine virtue. Divine virtue would be discipline, maybe. And first, let me address some of the questions that were asked. The first question that was asked was about how do you be strict with children and not be harsh? I feel that how many of you, actually, before I go any further, how many of you are not with the Brahma Kumaris, don't listen to the Murlis? Is there anyone here who don't listen to the Murlis?
I think they usually don't open their videos, but majority are actually not regular, listeners to Murli. No.
Okay. Oh, I just wanted them to raise their hand, but it's okay. So majority of them don't listen.
I think a big amount listen. So yeah, maybe balanced, 50-50.
50-50,
half
okay.
and half.
The thing I was thinking about was, especially in relation to children, right? Is when in the Brahma Kumaris, we have disciplines, like many people were talking about the disciplines, right? Even Bridgmont Bai was talking about the disciplines, about getting up in the morning, we eat eating a particular kind of food, who it's cooked by, all of these things. So we have very, you could say, strict disciplines. But I feel we receive even more love so that we can follow the disciplines. So first comes the love and then the disciplines, right? And so I feel we have to do the same with children. If we don't give them love first and just give them strictness, then they will not be able to follow because they need strength. They are children. You know, you have to think of them as children. They want to be children. They want to play. They want to do all of those things. And so think of them as children and we have to give love just like we receive love before we are asked to do something. We receive a lot of love. And I feel love, right, is the foundation of everything, foundation of everything. I remember recently someone coming to the center and they were having a very hard time with their marriage. And it was a young girl. She had two very young kids, and one was less than a year old, and one was a little older than that. And the husband wanted out of the marriage, and she came in with her mother. And as soon as they came in, right, the mother just on seeing me, she started crying. And before they could even tell me what was happening, right, they just started crying and they were crying and they were crying. And so first, sit them down, calm them down, give them a lot of love. Because if you tell them at that point, right, oh, the husband wants out of the marriage, why are you hanging on? Just let it go, blah, blah, blah. Or, why are you doing all of this? They're not going to hear it, right? And I felt at that moment they needed a lot of peace. But even before I could give them peace, I had to give them love. There's no way that they would have taken the peace without the love. So first we have to give love. Love is the foundation for everything, right? Whatever we are doing, we first give love. We feel those good wishes, those pure feelings, those loveful feelings for the soul. And then if you have to say something, say something. In the case of parents, with children who are young, you do have to say something. But grown-up children, no, you don't have to say something, because many times we take on authority for other people more than we should. If they're grown children, right, we don't have really. They're their own people. They have their own karmas. They're doing their own thing. You have to let them be. And I really remember this very, very well because in one of our lessons, right, the Supreme Soul, through our medium, this one was, I think, Avyak Murli Dadi Gulzar, Padada through Dadi Gulzar. So what was being said was, it was very recent that our near vision, right? Our near vision is not very good, but our far vision is very good. What that means is I'm not very good at seeing myself, but I'm very good at checking out someone else, right? So especially in the case of discipline, especially in the case of strictness, I'm very good at correcting someone, telling how they should behave, what they should do, what discipline they should have, all of those things. But when it comes to myself, I'm not that good at, right? Especially when we become parents. So before we tell our children anything, we first need to parent ourselves. Because what happens once you become a parent, it's almost like you put all your, you leave aside all of your, dreams for life, and then you put everything into the child, thinking this child should do this, whatever you didn't do, they should do it, whatever you couldn't do, they should do it. But first parent yourself, right? See how much can you do. Like, pick a discipline that you should do. And it could be something simple as meditate in the morning. I will get up every day at 4 in the morning and meditate for half an hour, right? And if I'm able to do that, then I will give instructions to my children. If I'm not able to do something hard, right, or something a little more out of my comfort zone, how am I expecting my children to do it? And so we have to first parent ourselves first before we parent anyone else. And that is actually, this is only for people with children, right? Who are under 18, you could say. Anyone older, or let's say older than 21, 22, they are out of the house, they are on their own, then don't do it. Just don't do it. Let them be. You have to trust your upbringing, that you brought them up properly, and you have to let them go. And I remember in the beginning of this session, all of you were talking about how strict your parents were growing up. It must be an Indian thing, right? Because I remember my parents being very strict about everything. Of course, I didn't appreciate it at that time, and I do appreciate it now. But I was thinking, if that strictness didn't come with love, where would I be? Right? See, all of us, right? We are, you could say, we have a life together. We are upstanding members of society. We are able to improve ourselves, progress, do all of those things. But there are many, many people who are not able to do that. There are many people who are not able to do that. And maybe their parents were strict with them too, right? We don't know, right? We can't tell. Let's do a statistical analysis on how many kids are not able to cope with life. Their parents were strict, but they took it the wrong way. And why did they take it the wrong way? It's very hard to tell, right? It's very hard to tell because we can only say, oh, my parents were strict with me and I turned out fine. And so let me think that strictness is the only way to go, right? I always feel that the dadis, I love this, the thing that was shared about Dadi Kumarka, the administrative head for 37 years that Manoj Bhai was talking about. One of the things they taught me is don't go to extremes. Don't go to this extreme, don't go to this extreme. So there is a modern contemporary parenting style. And this modern contemporary parenting style is the child is your friend. How would you like it if you don't? If the child throws a tantrum, give them the iPad. So it's called punishing by rewards, right? Throw a tantrum, give iPad. And there's this extreme of be very strict, they can't do anything, they shouldn't do anything, right? Extremes. Don't go to either extreme. We have to learn to follow the mid path. And the mid path here is be strict with yourself first, and then talk about it, and then give a lot of love, and then talk about things. Give a lot of love and talk about things. And because we don't want to go to this extreme or this extreme. I remember Dadi Kumarka, it must have been in 1995. I went to our spiritual headquarters. We call it Madhuban. Maybe it was even 94. It was very small, right? At that point, it was only this one campus called Pandav Bhavan, where it's on top of the mountain. And all of the dadis used to be listening to the Murli. And so it was morning Murli. And in the class, right, there were all the Dadi Chandramani, Dadi Manohar, all of these dadis were there. And Dadi Kumarka, Prakashmani Dadi, she was reading the Murli that day. And she came into the class and she asked, the first thing she asked after the meditation song was over, the first thing she asked was, who here did not take a shower this morning? And I was surprised by a few people raise their hand. I was like, yay, good for you, good for your honesty, right? That's what I was thinking. Good for you, good for your honesty. So a few people raised their hand. And Dadi very lovingly, because Dadi was very loving, her love was on a very different level. Dadi very lovingly said, go take a shower and come back. So they all left, went and took a shower. I mean, the Murli didn't wait or anything for them, but they were asked to leave and go take a shower. So Dadi was, in a way, a little strict. I've seen her, be very firm. Let's call it discipline. She had discipline. She was very loving. Her love was out of this world, right? Out of this world love. I mean, next to the Supreme Soul, right? Next to Bab Dada, her love was like so amazing. But she also had discipline. And so I remember that very well. And the other thing I wanted to double click on was Brijmon Bai's comment about people's being impressed by people's discipline or virtue or something like that, right? I don't know what the question was, but being impressed by discipline and virtue and things like that. And Brijmon Bai said, it's not only impressed, but you also get influenced. And so how important it is to be neutral. Nowadays, that is my effort, to be completely neutral. Even when you are not able to follow disciplines, right? Don't say, oh, bad, 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 bad. You didn't get up for Amrit Vela today. You fell asleep at Amrit Vela today. Or you fell asleep in your morning meditation today. Bad, bad, this. No. Those days are over. You have to look at your lack of discipline, other people's lack of discipline, your discipline, other people's disciplines, your virtues, other people's virtues, your defects, other people's defects, everything, right? You have to look at it with neutrality. Because one of the things that Brijmon Bai was sharing about Mama, I think, was that Mama had these amazing quality of determination, total determination. For me, these days the question is, how can I increase my determination? Right? Because if, let's say, I'm not doing something with discipline, right? If I beat myself up, is it going to work? Will I be more disciplined? If I feel guilty, if I feel, oh, you bad person, you didn't get up for morning meditation, how long are you going to sleep in? If I do all of those things, will I be able to do it? No. Because beating yourself up, being strict with yourself, feeling guilty about things, they don't do anything. I've tried it. I'm doing from personal experience. I've tried it. They don't do anything. You have to learn how. You have to learn, how am I able to be disciplined? How? And all of them, right? From God, the Supreme Soul, to Dadi Kumarka, to Brijmon Bai, everyone, all of them are talking about love. I have to be loving to myself. And then I can have determination. If I'm not loving with myself, I cannot have determination. And then there is the other extreme, right? People say, oh, I'm so hard on myself. Whatever, right? I feel actually the other aspect is true more than hard on ourselves. I feel we are very lenient with ourselves and very hard on other people. We can be very lenient with ourselves. So don't go to two extremes. One extreme is beat yourself up for not doing something, and the other extreme is so lenient, like anything goes, right? Remember, mid-path, always mid-path. Don't go to this extreme or this extreme, mid-path. And all of you know the Greek story of Odysseus, the Odyssey, right? The Odyssey was a very big story. Iliad and Odyssey in Greek mythology are like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana of India, right? They're very big. So in Odyssey, Odysseus is this Greek hero, and he's going on a journey. He's going back home, actually. The journey is he's going back home. And if you look at that story, right, with the spiritual eyes, you realize how much you can learn from that story. So he's going back home, and at one point he gets stuck somewhere, right? And there is a sorceress. He gets stuck and he gets involved with the sorceress, and she tells him the sorceress name is Circe. So Circe tells him, you're going back home, and on the way back home, you will come to a point. It's like a boat journey, right? A ship journey. So you, your ship, your people, everyone are going on this journey. You will come to a point in the journey where you will, they're called straits. It's a strait, and you have to pass through the strait, and there are lots of sirens on the strait. And the sirens will sing songs. And the songs will be so beautiful, so lovely, that you will forget your journey and you will get stuck. And hundreds of these ship captains have got totally stuck, and their boats got crashed against the shore, and they all perished because the sirens are so powerful, right? The song is so powerful that you have to resist. It is a trap. You have to resist the song of the sirens, and you have to go past this, right? And so Odysseus thinks of something. He says, what can I do to not hear the song of the sirens? So what he does is all the people on his ship, he plugs their ears with wax so they can't hear it. But for himself, he says, tie me to this mast of the ship, tie me to this mast. And how much ever I plead, do not untie me, because he knows that if he just plugged his ears with wax, he'll just take it off. But so he needed something more. So he needed someone to tie him. So his people in the ship, they tie him to the mast, and then they go, right? And then they go through the straits, and the sirens sing such beautiful songs, such enchanting songs, such alluring songs. And eventually they go past the straits, right? So because they didn't follow the path that other people did, which is listen to the sirens, go crash and go die, right? And so after he passes, then he realizes what happened. And I feel this story, right? It might sound like a Greek story somewhere or something, but it's actually about discipline. Because we, on our journey back home, so we are all on our journey back home. On our journey back home, Maya, you could say illusion, Maya, the five vices, whatever, they sing such beautiful songs, such alluring, enchanting songs. You don't even know they're singing, and you don't even know you're hearing it, and you don't even know you're falling for the song. And before you know, you go onto the shore and forget your journey home. But the mast and tying yourself to the mast is what we should do, because the mast and tying yourself to the mast is committing to a disciplined spiritual practice. Whatever may come, right? Whatever happens, right? Let's say if I'm committing to morning meditation, my 4 a.m. meditation, or anytime in the morning, and my class in the morning, my diet, diet and all of that, that it doesn't matter what happens. I commit, I tie myself to these disciplines, and I don't listen to the song of the sirens. Because Maya's siren songs can be very alluring. And so we have to be very firm, we have to be very strict, we have to be very disciplined about this, right? Because if we don't, we can get distracted. So at all costs, we have to avoid distractions, because before we know it, we have lost our path. We have forgotten everything, we're doing whatever we want, whenever we want, and it's done, right? And so what the story of Odysseus teaches us is this, how important it is to commit to a rigorous daily practice. Commit to a rigorous daily practice. We all have to do this, if we want any change in our life, if we want any kind of transformation in our life, we need to have a rigorous daily practice. Because if we don't have that kind of commitment, and then and remember, the commitment has to be non-negotiable. Not like, oh, today I feel okay, I'll do it. Tomorrow I don't feel okay, I won't do it. It has to be non-negotiable. So discipline and strictness, I feel that is the connection. There's a discipline, and I commit to this, and I don't break the commitment. That is strictness. If I break the commitment, then I'm not being strict. And if I break the commitment, so many things happen, right? So I have to be disciplined, and I have to make sure that happens. One of the things I feel, the siren songs, right? The songs of the sirens, is our own false ego. It's our own false ego that is singing to us. Because let's say if I am lazy, let's say, so what is Maya? Let's talk about Maya. So Maya, the sirens, right? This is the analogy of the Maya. Maya is spiritual illusion. But Maya as an illusion is what the 5 vices create in us as an illusion. So let's say I have, in case of discipline, let's say I have laziness. And because of laziness, I do morning meditation 2 days in a row. And the 3rd day I tell myself, oh, I'm not feeling too well today. What's happening? Maya is talking to me, because my laziness is creating that illusion. My laziness is having an inner dialogue with the soul, and laziness wins. Maya wins, because laziness has taken over. So that is Maya, right? Because the vices create an illusion, and they prevent us seeing reality. And in modern world, in psychology, that is called moral licensing, actually. Moral licensing is, let's say you are on a diet, right? And you eat really healthy. And then one day 2 days you eat healthy, and the 3rd day you totally binge on chocolate and ice cream and everything else, right? And you tell yourself, no, for 2 days I ate healthy, so the 3rd day I can binge. So that is called moral licensing. You're self-licensing, right? You're telling yourself, oh, because I did something for 2 days today, I can be okay. And we do that all the time with our disciplines. Oh, 2 days we are fine, and the 3rd day we give up. So if you want results, if you want success, then you cannot give up. You have to be strict. And that is the role of the sirens, or the role of Maya, like giving you these beautiful, alluring songs, like saying, yes, 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 it's so cold outside, it's so hot outside, whatever it is, right? Another very important aspect of discipline is to really look at yourself and ask yourself questions all the time. So let's say you want to get up in the morning. The night before, you have to have some questions ready, right? And I liked some of the things some of you were sharing about seeing the benefits, right? Okay, so 2 benefits of waking up in the morning, and 2 disadvantages of not waking up in the 2 pros, 2 cons of not waking up tomorrow morning, right? And so the next morning, then you ask yourself the question, you're not getting up. Don't worry about not waking up, and don't worry about being hard on yourself. Don't worry about all of that. What you would need to do is you ask yourself, who am I? Who am I without this committed practice? Can I reach my destination without this committed practice? If I don't have this practice, then who am I? Right? That kind of exploration. So we have to go from being strict and we should do this to learn how to do it. We have to learn how to do these things. I promise you this will work, right? 2 benefits, 2 pros, 2 cons of getting up tomorrow morning, and keep asking your questions. As soon as you wake up, start asking yourself questions. Do I really want this? If I don't get this, what will happen? If I don't follow a discipline, what will happen? All of those things, right? So that is important, because one of the things about discipline is this inner stillness. When you have discipline and when you're very strict about the practice, right, you have stillness. There is such a stillness, such a soul silence. You experience such silence, right? Because and it's not just one-time thing. You consistently want to reach those depths. The depth of the silence, the depth of who you are, the depth of God, all of these things, you consistently want to reach it. If I do it one day, if I don't do it one day, if I get up one day, don't get up one day, don't do things one day, it's not going to work. And remember, I said, even in Odysseus, he was going back home. And also, we are all on our journey back home. And before I go back home, how do I want to go back home? Do I want to go back home with this laziness? Do I want to go back home with all these vices controlling me? Or do I want to go back home as a self-sovereign? How do I want to go back home? We have a choice, because discipline is a choice. It's about choosing. And people think that sleeping in is not a choice. It's very easy, I just sleep in. No, it's not. You're actually choosing to sleep in. And trust me, choosing to get up can be as easy as choosing to sleep in. It can be as easy. We have to make it a choice in our head. You have to make it, oh, this choice, this choice. Which choice do I want? And then say, this is a choice I'm making. Do I really want to make this choice? No, I want to make this choice, right? So we have a choice. One thing for sure I feel about strictness or discipline or anything is we cannot do this without support from the Supreme. Discipline cannot happen without support. We have to have that love, that divine support, the guidance, the total pure altruistic love. If we experience that pure altruistic love, then it's very easy. So instead of saying, I should be disciplined, I should be strict, I think our focus should shift and say, no, I need to experience this love. When I experience this love, then whatever needs to happen will happen. But let me experience this love. So, the word discipline, I always use the word blisscipline because I don't like the word discipline, right? I say blisscipline. The reason I say blisscipline is because I want to associate whatever I'm doing, right? Whatever commitments I made, my daily commitments, my rigorous daily practice, whatever, right? Whatever commitments I have made, because there's a lot of joy and freedom. There's a lot of joy and freedom in them. It is a enlightened freedom. It's not just a freedom like that, right? It's enlightened freedom. So there's a lot of joy and freedom with this. And I don't want to associate, I want to associate whatever I'm doing, my rigorous daily practice, with joy and freedom. So I call it blisscipline. I don't call it discipline. I say it's giving me bliss, it's giving me joy, it's giving me freedom. So we'll call it blisscipline. One of the things I want to reiterate more than anything else is this idea that before we have anything, right? Before we do anything, before we have anything, before we have all of those things, love comes first. Love comes before anything else. So actually, I am trying to see, how can I give love to souls? How can I really show love to souls? How can I see myself as a soul? There are many very, very good things in the Bhagavad Gita, but there is one thing that the Bhagavad Gita says, which is very fascinating. It says, when you see the truth, you experience the truth. When you see the truth, you experience the truth. So when you start seeing yourself a certain way, right? When you start seeing yourself as disciplined, when you start seeing yourself as loving, when you start seeing all of that, then you will start experiencing it. So you have to see yourself first. And more than anything else, we really need to have love. Love, love, love. And I liked what Manoj Bhai was sharing, love for the self, discipline, law for the self, and love for everyone else, right? Okay, sometimes we are called upon to be lawful. If we, children in certain situations, we are called upon to be lawful, but love, because if we don't give them love, then they'll never have the strength to follow what we are asking them to do. So love, love, love. Acha. All right. I wanted to leave some time for question and answers, and if you wanted to share anything yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Actually, you're invoking questions. We've got a few questions in the chat box. I think this is a very, I'll just read it up. It's quite a few things to be read. So it's like Sister Anu was mentioning that we need to have a lot of love and patience while dealing with children. So in a counter question to that is that I feel patience and love may be abundant sometimes, But if there's constant repetition, which means constant repetition is required with the child because of brain functioning limitations such as ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity. So it's a abnormal state of the brain. How can we stay centered as a parent where the patience turns into exhaustion and eventually some harshness does come out?
Don't be too hard on yourself. Kids are really, I shouldn't say this, but I watch a lot of kids these days. They're almost terrorists. Like they know how to manipulate you, right? They know how to manipulate you. It's a very different age, and the kids are very different right now than before. We could say, oh, my parents were so strict with me and I turned out fine. It was a different age. Now is a very different age. An answer to that question, I would just say, don't be hard on yourself and learn to parent yourself. Learn to take some me time, learn to center yourself. Don't put all of your hopes and desires in the child. Just learn to be your own person without being a mother, without being a father, without being a parent, right? Just learn to be yourself. Like connect with God as the supreme parent, take love, and then move on, because you have to remember this role as a mother or all of this is actually just very temporary. You're an eternal soul, and this is very temporary. So don't be hard on yourself.
Okay, yeah. So another question is, these are actually questions which I wanted to ask Brijman Bhai, but there were many, so we couldn't take so many. So obsession with I being right all the time has become a norm for many people. So how to handle such people, because such people usually are strict and such challenging situations.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about what someone was talking about difficult bosses earlier on. You have to remember something about strict people or difficult bosses, right? We always have a choice. In any situation, we have a choice. And the choice is whether we want to be here or not in their presence. And if you say, okay, I need to be in their presence, no choice, I have to be in their presence, then the other choice is, how am I responding to this person is also a choice. Mostly, if I am taking sorrow, right? If I am taking sorrow, or I'm reacting to their ego of being right, or whatever it is, right? It's because somehow there's a deep self-image, self-esteem, self-worth problem. And so I have to fix that. They are just coming to tell me it's there, right? Don't worry about them. Just remember the message. Don't look at the messenger. The message is some kind of self-worth issue is going on. And if you are able to stay in your self-respect under all circumstances, then nothing of this will happen.
Okay. So another question is, thank you. That it's a sister. She's saying, I'm an elementary school teacher, and I experienced that too much love made kids a bit undisciplined and disrespectful towards me. I do not like to be harsh, but then I thought I should be harsh, maybe. Can you suggest some advice here?
Okay, don't think of it as harshness. Think of it as firmness. You're being firm. Now, remember extremes. Don't go to extremes. One extreme is let them do whatever they want, they can do everything, and the other extreme is harshness. Now, you have to have discipline, and you have to be firm, and you have to be loving. Both. It cannot be either or. Life is never about either or. We have to balance both. Balance means that we're doing both equally well. And to be able to balance, right, the only way I've noticed to balance, because balance is a very difficult virtue, it's a very advanced virtue, balance. And so the only way we can balance any of these things is we have to commit to our own spiritual growth. When we commit to our own spiritual growth, when we really follow a discipline, and when we do the right things by ourselves first, right, then that balance is possible.
Okay, speaking of balance, how to strike a balance of humility, sweetness, and strictness as at the same time?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Again, like I said, balance is an advanced virtue. And like every virtue, right? Every virtue, every value that all of us really think about. There are three categories of these values, right? There's the easy ones, beginner, beginner ones, and intermediate ones, and advanced ones. And just like, let's say, if I'm playing golf or tennis or cricket or whatever, right? Let's take golf, which I have absolutely no idea how to play the game, or I don't go see it, but let's just take golf. And so you have beginner golfers, you have intermediate golfers, you have advanced golfers. And beginner golfers, you do have to do certain things. Then if you want to be an intermediate golfer, you have to put in more and more time to become an intermediate golfer. You want to be an advanced golfer, you have to put in a lot of time, really make it professional, right? So balance is advanced, advanced virtues. It's like very advanced. And so to be able to have a balance of all of this, you have to put in a lot of time into yourself, a lot of time into your spiritual practice. And then that balance is possible.
So, like all our seniors in the organization, yeah, they are so much into spirituality, and they can strike a beautiful balance, all our seniors, right? Okay, there's
Yes,
a
because they're
comment.
very advanced. They're
Right.
very advanced.
So there's a comment coming up that I think it's come to everyone. So I'll just read it out because everyone can see it also in the chat box. That treat your children as human beings. They have a right to their thoughts, although you may not agree with them. At least you heard them and then explain them why you want them to do something in your way, and give them a reason, a result to it, not just being bossy. So again, like treating with kids. Yeah, so I think we'll just take one more last question. Any personal experiences? Okay, before that, there's another balance thing. I know it's advanced, but let's see whether you want to take it. How to make the balance between stickiness and easiness? Because what happens when you're easy with people, they stick on to you and they can really take away a lot of your time. And how to detach then from such people who are becoming very sticky?
We have to deal with a lot of that at the center, right? So let's say someone is calling and they want a lot of time. They ask the same questions, or they're coming over, they ask the same questions, they want to do the same thing, and they don't want to change their life, but they want to get some blessing so that whatever, right? And so I always give a certain amount of time. I tell myself, my love for Baba, for the Supreme, and for this soul is that because of my love for the Supreme and my love for this soul, I can put aside 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We can do that for anyone. And after that, I have to move on. I have to do other things. I have to move on. And so that's how I strike a balance. Like while there, that be very firm, very gentle, both firm and gentle, and stick to what you have to say, right? If someone says, oh, like recently someone was telling me, they called and said, people in India do this, people in Indian centers do this, why can't we do this in centers here? And so, and then the same question in different ways again and again and again, right? And so this just very firm but very gently saying, we all are on a different path. We're all different. We can't expect, one center somewhere else doing something, one center somewhere else doing the same thing, because even though we all have the same discipline, we all have the same common things, a lot of common things, some of it are different. And so you have to see personally what is going on with the soul, and you have to very gently bring that stickiness to their attention without it being too forceful. And I feel if you're connected with the Supreme Soul, you'll find that balance. You will know what to say, what to do. Because any situation, right? Ultimately, God has an answer much better than we could ever do. And so you will find it. So just connect, just be very quiet. You will know what to do.
I'll take this interesting question because I think it was last time someone had asked, but we didn't get a chance to pick it up. That how to be strict in spiritual disciplines that collide with another person's thought process. And into brackets, she's saying jealousy, for example, and he or she puts obstacles in my effort then. So how do we?
You repeat that. I had to plug my computer in because it was running out of juice and I didn't hear. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'll just repeat it. No worries. So if there is conflict of spiritual disciplines, so she's saying how to be strict in spiritual disciplines that collides with another person's disciplines, into bracket jealousy, for example, and then such person puts obstacles in my effort in my spiritual journey. So how to deal with such strictness where there's a conflict of spiritual disciplines?
Oh, I'm trying to understand it. So they are saying, a certain thing should be arranged this way, and you're saying, no, it should be arranged this way, but they're insisting it should be arranged this way because of jealousy for you. Is that what the question is?
I think probably, yeah.
The question is jealousy, no? Is that the question? How to address jealousy? With or without discipline, how do you address jealousy? I remember Dadi Janki one time telling me that jealousy is a form of laziness. That if we are lazy, we are jealous. And also jealousy is a form of, is a messenger, like different vices also are messenger vices, right? They come to give you a message. And a jealousy or noticing other people's jealousy is coming to give us a message that we need more humility. In any given situation, right? In any given situation, whether it's jealousy, whether someone is slapping you, whether they're insisting you do it this way and not this way, whatever, in any situation, right? Ultimately, what is going on inside the soul is more important than what is going on outside. So the outside circumstances, really, the only reason you have to remember, the only reason they're going on is to see the trigger that is happening inside the soul. And so if I'm upset that someone is jealous of me, what is the message? The message is not that that person is jealous. The message is that I have upset inside me, right? So let's say I have orange juice. Let's say I have an orange. I squeeze an orange. What comes out? Orange juice. Let's say I have a mango. I squeeze a mango. What comes out? Mango juice. If I squeeze someone who there's upset inside, what comes out? Upset comes out. So don't worry about the person squeezing. I think yesterday in our lesson, there were several times that we were told, be introverted, look at yourself, be introverted. That's what it means, is be introverted, is shift your focus away from all these people, everything, right? And go inside. And inside, see how everything that is happening externally is triggering. What is it triggering inside the soul? Because that is a much more powerful way of dealing with this, right? If I think, oh, that person is upset, that person is jealous, that person is this, I'm giving away my power. That is not a way to live. I need to reclaim power. I need to ask myself, what is it triggering in myself, and how can I fix what's being triggered? How can I reform? How can I transform what's being triggered in the soul? And and also it's good to understand them also, right? It's good to understand that possibly they do have jealousy. I'm not saying they don't, and it's not my business really. That's their problem.
Yes, fantastic. So let's focus, let it get back onto the self. Yeah. Okay, good. So we are just running out of time now. So we have 5 more minutes left. I'll just quickly do a few announcements. And in the meantime, if anyone wants to be a part of our series and the workshops, we have just 3-4 months left. We'll be doing 100 and then closing. And then we'll see something else. Seniors will give us some more motivation to do what. So if there are new people who have joined, if you all can please share your email IDs and your WhatsApp numbers directly to everyone if you're comfortable, or maybe to Sister Anu and Sister Vidhi, so that we can incorporate you in a mailing list and send you all these review materials, all the PowerPoints, and all the sharings which have been done by these senior Rajyogis in a material which will send to you in the next few weeks in an email format. Okay, a few quick announcements. In the next 12 hours from now, we have the silence retreat on newness. Sorry, I'm at the East Coast time now. This time I'm in New York, and I have to fly tomorrow. So I won't be able to join, but the West Coast will be 8:30 a.m. and for India, it will be 8 to 10 p.m. Sunday morning. Yeah, sorry, it's Sunday 8:30 morning for India and Saturday 8 to 10 for West Coast. And this newness is from the last month. I mean, the June starting, we had started with this virtue. So we'll be finishing, as always, the month with a silence retreat. So silence retreat on newness. And then we have the next value. Again, we have speakers, senior Rajyogis from the USA again, next Saturday. It is 6th July and the episode is 94th on transparency, called in Hindi Pardarshita. So we have our senior speaker, Sister Wadi, who is the coordinator center for Florida, and Sister Jenna, who is for the Washington, D.C. area. Both of us have been with us in the past, and it will be good to have a conversation between both of them. Actually, even this was supposed to be a conversation between Sister Sukanya from San Francisco and Sister Shireen, but for some reason, Sister Sukanya couldn't join due to some other seva commitments, because I know people enjoy conversations more. And again, we are fortunate. Then let's move to Italy direct from USA for the next workshop. It is on transparency. We have both the sisters from Italy. So Sister Antonella, she's on the national coordinating team of Brahma Kumaris in Italy, and Sister Radha, who's the center coordinator at Rome in Italy. So we'll be having again a wonderful time with both of them on Saturday 13. And this is an elegant July calendar. We'll send it to you in the emails. We have much more speakers and much more values coming for you all. And please feel free to visit the playlist, which is there for both the series and the workshops as well. You can feel free to go on our YouTube channel as well, vihasa.in. And these are our email addresses of Vancouver and the Values for Life series, both, and the website of also Vancouver as well. So let me just stop sharing the screen, and I would now request Sister Anu to please propose the vote of thanks. Over to you. Thank you.
I think it's just a big wow. So much insight you took us actually deep inside, and many aspects we will all churn. I know we all got really deep insight. That's the word coming. But it is parenting yourself first, always. to be able to parent the other one, whoever, children, or to be in a right interaction with others. Also balance, as you said, is the very advanced virtue, but for that you're bringing attention. That attention has to be on me for my spiritual growth, self-parenting, and taking Supreme Soul's parenting. Just focus on yourself. Also the story, Odysseus, yeah, tying myself to the mast. Yeah, somebody also mentioned that in the message in the chart. So yes, strictness for the self. We have really benefited highly. Thank you so much, Sister Shireen. And we will check, recheck, read, plan it for ourselves to really bring this spiritual discipline on ourselves. Thank you very much on behalf of everyone. Thank you so much.
Having me. Thank you for having me. It's
Group photo, please. Group photo, please.
Okay.
Strictness
So we'll
is
take a group
discipline with
photo.
commitment. Thank you.
Yes, tied to the commitment. We'll take a group photo, virtual photo that we'll share with everybody. And then at the end, also, Sister, you'll take us through a meditation experience. So everyone, whoever likes to be in the photo, please switch on your video. And yeah, some people still opening. So that's how I'm taking just a few more seconds. Anyone would like to be in the photo with Sister Shireen? Okay, I got it.
So before we close, we'll request for a closing meditation. It will be a commentary or drishti or whatever you are comfortable.
just the Rishi is good.
Okay.
I think commentary is good too. Whatever feels comfortable for you, I think will be okay for that. 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 to 7 minutes is good. I'm sure everybody is okay. A little longer.
Let's take a deep breath. In and gently release that breath. Allow your body to go into a rhythm with your breathing in and out, gently and slowly. As you breathe in and out, let go of everything external and come into the awareness of being a spiritual being in this human body. Remember that as a spiritual being, you have everything. You have love, you have discipline, you have peace, you have everything. And in this awareness, you become aware of the Supreme Parent, the Supreme Soul. In the presence of the Supreme, you gently look within yourself and ask yourself the question, who would I be without my spiritual practice? Who am I? And what is my spiritual practice doing for me? Take a few moments and answer that question without judgment and resistance. See yourself as an eternal being of luminous light. Going through life with a committed practice. I am a soul, I'm weightless, I'm eternal, and discipline is my way of life. The Supreme Soul is here with me and is showering love and strength to the soul. Just take a few moments and absorb the shower of love and strength. Feel him, experience him talking to you, telling you, you can do this. You're a beautiful soul. And in my love, there is no labor. And you can do this. Just absorb this strength. Absorb this encouragement. In the presence of the Supreme, I have the strength to look inside and not focus outside. Take a moment now and see what is preventing me from doing what I need to do. Again, what is preventing me from doing what I need to do? Without judgment, without resistance, answer that question. See the illusions of Maya that are preventing you as a dark cloud. And take it to the Supreme and present that dark cloud to the Supreme. He's taking it away. And in its place, I'm being filled with divine, luminous light. Just take a moment now to absorb the luminous light of the Supreme. And take a deep breath and come back to here and now. Om Shanti. I am peace.
Thank you so much once again for your words of wisdom and the beautiful experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Shireen, and everyone. See you again soon. Let's keep flying with this spiritual growth for the beautiful community.